Days 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the Cafe Nightly Show. It is the 13th of February 2023. It happens to be Mardi Gras. It happens to be in the middle of Carnival, and we have no new Carnival ornaments. We do have some value in the Carnival ornaments from last year, so get those up, get them decorated. Love to see as many Carnival ornaments out as possible. And keep in mind, we do have that snapshot every Thursday for leaderboards on the Frost season ornaments, the Frost season decoration contest. Top 25 there, or top 50 there is getting snapshotted to potentially win zero 0.05 spark. So that's definitely something to put yourself up that ranking as far as you can get and be ready for the end of the season that leaderboard. So get those Carnival ornaments if you want to purchase some. Keep in mind they're on the secondary market. Keep in mind they're more than mint, most of them. Other keynotes today, which you get a couple key ones. The Kart sale had a little bit of a alteration, and it may change the overall value of the carts. We'll get into the specifics there. Registration's open currently for the Monster Mayhem carts, but we do want to put a little bit of a note on the update, because again, it changes the offering that what people originally were expecting when the original announcement came out. And then we have one other piece there worth going over, definitely worth going over as far as I'm concerned, and that is the Frost season pass week 2 drops, or second drops, I should say. What we can go over on that is what we got. People got what they had asked for. We had people from week 1 who said, "Why don't I have snow?" And congratulations, you now have snow. We'll go over what we got this week and put a quick note there on we've got a couple more weeks left. If you have not burnt your pass yet, you still are going to have access to the following weeks, the weeks still yet to come, but you can't recover. You can't recover week 2 or week 1 if you burn a pass now and you hadn't burnt one already. So easy enough. Looking forward to getting into a couple of those pieces. Looking forward to some more things to come in Upland over the next couple of weeks. So I will put some asterisks on some things to keep your eyes out on. And other than that, we are looking forward to maybe potentially a couple announcements in the next 2 weeks. And with that, before I can get into the announcements, we do want to go through the disclaimer. All views and opinions expressed by myself are mine and mine alone. Shouldn't be taken as game strategy or financial advice. Any views and opinions expressed by myself that do not represent the team or the game of Upland. If we do have those on who are going to be, contributing, any guests that we have on, they have their own opinions. They should be taken as their own. They should not be taken as game strategy or financial advice. They don't represent the game of the team of Upland or myself, the Goldsmith of the Cafe Nightly Show. Sounds like a disclaimer enough for me. Of course, as always, jumping in here, let's take a look at the actual announcements. There you go, Cheese. Mardi Gras, get them out and shake them with it. I think that was the point you're making. What they are is entirely up to you. Let's take a look at the actual announcements. And as I'm pulling these up, if you are over on YouTube, if you are in the plaza currently, hi, glad you're there. You can always see the announcements as I pull them up. We get a chance to go over and look at them there. And the note I like to put out there is, of course, if you miss half the show, we do have the show up afterwards. 7 p.m. PT is when we broadcast live. But, of course, it'll be up immediately after the show, or even during the show. You'll be able to start from the beginning if you choose to do so, if you come in late. So love to see you have that opportunity to do so. Share the screen. Let's take a look at our announcements today. Let's get over and get this up for Upland today. Again, on these announcements, a couple things that we get to see and get to look at on the announcement side of things is I'm going to see up in announcements today, nothing. The reason I see nothing is because everything was in live updates. And those live updates, again, 2 pieces that I would say that, are to be expected, but one of them is definitely worth a little bit of surprise at, not necessarily shock or anything of that nature, but it is enough of a change that's worth going over on the cards here. On that cards change, let's take a look at it. Boom. As we take a look at this announcement on the cards change, this is important here. Hey folks, we have an update surrounding the forthcoming Monsters Mayhem cart sale right up here. We can see it, and subsequent burning due to technical constraints. Keep in mind, we are burning one type of asset, which is carts. We're getting another type of asset out that is trucks. This is the first time Upland has ever done it quite this way. We've done other burns, but they say technical constraints. I'm going to question whether they have set up the burn of the carts yet. Maybe they'll be available in the future. We are unable to proceed with the burning carts for this event. However, this works in your favor. We'll talk about that. This works in your favor. Now, to qualify for the monster truck, you have to hold 3 carts. And again, this is important, different carts to be eligible for it rather than burning them. You will need to be holding the carts between 9 and 10 a.m. on Tuesday, February 20th. So we've moved the burn date to February 20th, between 9 and 10 a.m., and we've changed it from a burn to a snapshot event. For the snapshot to be eligible for the monster truck, again, you have to be holding all 3 at that time. And it's going to be a one-time snapshot. So you don't get to get your snapshot and then transfer those over to your buddy and have him get the snapshot. So in many ways, it's similar to the burn, where who has it at the time, it's done deal. That's the person who gets the reward. Big old caveat is these continue to stay on the market, which means 2 things. Number one is the number of overall carts is not going to decline by the amount that was burned to get the reward. If you have that in your mind that you're buying a cart that's going to have a lower supply than the original, minting, something like, oh, I was going to get the rare one where there's only 20 of them and 17 of them get burned, and now there's going to be 3 of these cards. That's no longer going to be the dynamic, so it's worth keeping that dynamic in mind, which means it gives you more focus, or it gives the economy, the market, more focus on taking these during the burn period, which again is no longer a burn period, during the pre-burn period, the burn period, moving these over and getting them into the accounts that want to get the reward. It does put a concentration of value, a temporary concentration of value on some of these. We'll likely see that temporary concentration of value. A lot of that's lost. So if I go and I buy that rarest of the rare, there's only 10 of them available. We'll get to take a look at the names because I never remember them because they're that wacky and that wonky. But if you buy the 10 of 10, or there's only 10 of them available out there, you buy one of those. If you're gonna buy that and hang on to that long term, you're gonna see its value spike for a short period of time, and that's gonna be because people are trying to acquire it to potentially win the truck. The second you get past that 9 to 10 a.m., theoretically after 10 a.m. PT on next Tuesday the 20th, you're going to see the value plummet. And that's going to be because it no longer has the same utility. That's the interesting thing about these snapshots. You have a temporary utility for that NFT, and then you're going to have a long-term value. You're going to have a long-term value as a collectible, and the fact that it can be used as a race card. The collectible value is going to be enhanced by the fact that there's only 10 of them available. The utility value of driving it as a cart is still going to be there. And even if you get snapshotted, you still have the cart as a cart. So that is kind of a benefit, a reward, kind of cool function feature of an error or a limitation on the part of Upland. The limitation on the part of Upland means that now you can have both the 3 carts that you put together, that you were able to temporarily hold. You purchased, you traded, you swapped, whatever you did to get them. Now you're going to keep those long term. Now they're your little babies. Now you got 3 little carts in your car showroom, or you got 3 little carts that you're going to keep to race around the track. And you also have the truck. Keep in mind, there's a very limited amount of people who will end up with that truck, and there's a larger amount of people who will end up with one of these carts. We'll go into the details on this sale itself because there are some sale items worth going over. And I'll go back over to my Upland account to look at the sale in a little more detail. So we can look at the sale in a little more detail. Look at this. Sold out Stockton train terminal. Sold out train terminal in Trenton. Whoop, whoop. I only had a day and a half to wait, and I could have minted a train terminal. Guess what? No such luck. They sold out. But here we go. The Monsters Mayhem carts. 240 of these available. All 240 of them are ready to go. And if we look over at this little guy right here, this orange little lock, it shows it right here. It doesn't show it here. This orange lock tells me that this sale is exclusive to Monster Map asset holders. You have to have either the Monster Mayhem map asset, or you have to have the little monsters from the harvest season if you wanted to be in the sale. If you were snapshotted, and you have the opportunity to register for the sale. I have already registered, so we'll look at that registration. But if you haven't, you should be able to go register if you were holding on to that between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. during the snapshot morning. With this limited sale, you will acquire one of the 6 models of the Monsters Mayhem Kart. Again, this is an important note. In previous sales, we've had this is for sale, and this is for sale, and this is for sale. This is kind of a little different on this, where this is another one of those grab bags. It is a randomized order where I get to buy 788th in line, which means I may not get one of these, or who knows, I might get lucky. That with the price point on these, maybe people aren't going to be as fast to purchase them. We'll have to see. Cross our fingers. Maybe I'll get a good number for once. Who knows? Who knows? Crazier things have happened, but I don't know what I'm going to get. I might get the rare cart. I might get the most common cart. If I get the rarest cart, now I have to go on the secondary and buy 2 of the more common carts, or I'm going to get a huge benefit of having the rare cart because I know I can sell it in the market for a lot higher value, because that's the one that people are going to want to acquire as the linchpin, as the keystone, as the ability to make sure that they're going to be getting this very special truck on the end. We'll look at that truck in here in just a minute. But as I've said before, the determination of who gets the trucks is not by who can get 4 or 5 or 6 carts the fastest. It's who can get the rarest cart, and then you fill in the collection from there. Keeping in mind that there may be someone who ends up with the rarest carts and has a hard time acquiring the other 2. Those 2 are going to be the easiest. If you end up with the rarest cart, you should be able to find a way. The caveat that it's more money. It's going to be more on the secondary than it's on the primary. Keep that in mind. So it may be a barrier for some people. And if you end up with the rarest cart, you can take that profit if you're not going to be in the position to turn around and go and pick up the rest of the series. Again, this is a $34.99 purchase, USD. You have to be ready to spend that money if you want to get the car. The sale is going to be happening tomorrow, with the caveat that it's going to be going on the secondary almost immediately. The second these get sold, these are going to start showing up in car showrooms. I am sure of it. I have a car showroom. I am not necessarily going to I don't know, we'll see. I am not necessarily going to go and try to buy the rarest if I don't get lucky and get it. We'll have to see what that market ends up shaping up to be. I may be able to use some UPIX to buy a cart or 2. We'll see how that works. I might pick up some UPIX between now and the snapshot. But keep in mind, once it's on the secondary market, that is determined by the market, by the economy, by the people's demand for this car and how much they want that overall reward at the end, which is the truck. And we'll get into those and take a look at those real quick. But as a reminder, be ready. 9 a.m. PT is the sale. You should at 8 a.m. PT get that heads up. Hey, you're 6,619th in line. Good luck. Or you might be much closer than that. But wherever you end up in line is going to be the USD purchase price. Let's go and take a quick look. Let's get down here into our resources, into our announcements, and we're going to take another look at that Monsters Mayhem sale. He should have done it on a Sunday, but they're doing it on tomorrow, Wednesday, the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you out there. There we go. All of you out there in the world who will be celebrating Valentine's Day, all of you in Australia who are already there, all of you in the Philippines who are already there, happy Valentine's Day. But of course, here's the update here. Let's go down and see here our burn. Definitely worth looking at this. So there's 240 bundles available. Let's do some math. Boop, 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 boop. There's 240 of these available. 80 of this little pumpkin, 20 of this Frankenstein, 50 of this ghost. You've got to burn these 3 together. That means there'll be a total of 20 of the resultant truck here. You got to burn 10, or 3 of these together. There's 10 of them overall available. This Noodle Fang. See, I told you I don't remember these. Noodle Fang, Grumble Guts, and Boogle Walk. There's going to be 10 of these sets that are available for burn because of the limitations on the Noodle Fang. The most common, obviously, is the Grumble Guts. Look at that. So if you get one of these Grumble Guts, there's only 50 of them in the game, so that's kind of cool. However, that's not going to be enough to get you this new truck. You're going to have to get one of these 1 of 50s. You're going to have to get one of these 1 of 30s, and you're going to have to get one of these 1 of 10s and be holding them between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. next Tuesday. Same thing down here. And let's take a look at that burn, which is no longer a burn, which is now a snapshot. So that burn is you have to hold these 3. Now you have to hold these 3 between a 1 hour window. Do what you want with them afterwards. If you get snapshotted holding these 3 in your wallet between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. on Tuesday, you're going to get this guy right here. And there's only 10 of these available. If you get snapshot with a ghost, with a Frankenstein, with a pumpkin between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. on Tuesday, you're going to get this guy right here, this little truck. And that truck is going to be a 1 of 20 truck. There'll be 20 of these available in the game. That's how it works. We'll have to see what happens after the sale. Keynote is on this truck, and let's go do it. Keynote on this truck is that the truck is going to be a enhanced version of the T, the Series T truck. It is going to be a special version. It's wrapped. It looks different, but it also is going to be. It is also going to be having different features and different functions. So, MV Motors, right? Yeah. Let's do that. MV Motors. Let's go take a look. Look at that factory right over here. We're going to go take a look. Take a look at the factory. MV Motors. Go. Take a look at MV Motors. Boom, right over there. Let's take a look at MV Motors account, assets. Get over to their cars, and we hope we don't want to screw so crazily down here, but we can go grab here and get down to the end. We can do it. There we go. I knew we'd find them eventually. Take a look at these stats on these trucks. Here we go. If we pop this open, if you're following along, if you're not, let's read it out to you. Looking at the Tiny Monsters truck, the Tiny Monsters for the monster truck for the Tiny Monsters is the same overall stats as what we are seeing. Here we go. Pop that up. Come on, you. Why don't you work? Is it going to be the same stats as we're going to see on the Monsters Mayhem version? So one way or the other, we're going to see the same stats on both. There we go. Here's our truck. Give me some stats, please, please, please. Why not? There we go. There's the stats. Off-road, 92 out of 100. Durability rating, 88 out of 100. Reliability rating, 81 out of 100. Your energy efficiency is 33 out of 100, with the handling at 22. Braking is 21, acceleration 44, speed rating 61. The estimated weight value is 3,008 kilograms. That is a monster truck by weight terms anyways. Those tires, they don't look like they are true monster truck tires, but we definitely are lifted, and those look a little bit larger than regular tires. 505 horsepower is what is featured in this truck. It is 4-wheel drive, 4 wheels, 6 seats. Cargo capacity, 1,860 liters. So theoretically, as we talk about the future of utility in the game of Upland, you could put 6 passengers in this vehicle, travel between cities. You could put this on a dirt track, which you don't have yet, which you may have in the near future, and have a much better experience, have better outcomes than you might with another truck, because standard trucks don't all have 92 on the off-road rating. The durability rating's good. The reliability rating's good. Energy efficiency, go figure, a monster truck is not that energy efficient. So we do see some enhanced stats on this. That's good. And then you do have good cargo capacity when we do have cargo. 1,860 liters. That puts you high up on the list of high levels of carrying stuff around with you. So overall and across the board, this is a better version of a truck. There's less available of them, so it makes it a limited collectible. And hey, these wraps look pretty good. They look pretty seamless. Upland can take an Upland truck, and they can go and take an image. If you're looking on YouTube or you're in the plaza, look at that. But they can take an image and they can wrap it on the truck, and it can look halfway decent. So they did a good job with that. So that is going to be something that is going to have its own value in and of itself, to see these racing around the racetracks, of course, and just because of the limited value or limited number of these trucks overall. So pretty excited to see that happen. I like these burns from one type of asset into another. I like these ideas that, you can get lucky and get a limited availability, something or another, and burn it into something that's more valuable. I would, and I've already said it and I'll say it again, I was a little bit about the price pointing, that there's $35. You're going to get 3 of them because I'm going to be lucky to get one bundle or buy one of the cards at the $35 just because there's only 240 of them available. I'm going to be lucky to buy one at $35. Now it's going to go in the secondary and the market value is going to go up. And it just sets the price point really high on these cards to start with, which is going to be amplified by the limited number of overall trucks. When the first thing was announced and people hadn't read the overall value of these trucks that was going to be out there, they weren't thinking, oh, by the way, it's going to be significantly compressed. Having one of these carts is going to put you a long ways. Again, 240 carts available and only 30 trucks. It's going to put you a long ways from actually getting there. That limiting factor, that rarest of the series, is always going to determine where the truck ends up, right? You have to hold the rarest, and you have to find the other 2 if you want to get the truck. And again, it's possible that people won't end up with getting the rarest and the less rare, the 2 less rare versions into the same account, aka it's too much OPEX, too much USD on the secondary market to purchase it, and there's less than the 10 that get done, and I'm sure Upland will find some other way of distributing them, but less than the 10 get snapshot, and less than 10 go out, or less than 20 on the tiny monsters side of things. That was a little bit of a change there from today, and moving forward, I think that Upland's going to continue to try to do the burn dynamic. You have to give something up to get something. Upland likes that dynamic. It opens up the possibilities, and we've seen this on the NFLPA side. It opens up the possibilities of reducing the old stock of something to potentially give people reason to buy the new stock, because again, there's less old stock in the secondary. It potentially increases the value of the old stock a little bit by reducing the supply. We've seen that happen a little bit because there's 2 sets of contests going on. There were 2 sets of contests going on at the same time for the NFLPA. They burnt out some of the supply of NFLPA mementos this year, or legits this year. Sorry, they burnt out a certain percentage of the legits this year in order for people to go through this postseason snapshot or postseason leaderboard contest that you gotta burn, you gotta get rid of them in order to move along, move up the ranks. Not everybody who burnt something is going to get a replica, but the top 10 in each of the teams for each of those periods does end up with a replica. Pretty cool. First replicas in the game of Upland, but it also means that if you are taking part, if you're competing in the last contest of the year, the team contest, it's still going on until almost the end of February here. If you're taking part and trying to keep your eyes on that, you do have less overall 2023 to pick up because there's less out there. Well, some of them got burnt. In some cases, a lot of them got burnt, and some people burnt a lot of them to be competitive in that contest, and now they have to end up with more, which puts them on the idea of potentially going to the secondary to purchase them. It's a game loop that does work in Upland's favor. There's certain people who, wish that all of the information or the full functionality was known before people, did one thing or another, purchased it early in the season. It would have been more of a value, but it also is a way of rewarding the people who did buy in before some of the value was fully explained. Here we go, fan score challenge. If we go down to the fan score challenge, it is still open. Obviously, there are a couple different iterations here. Here we go. Here's the Ultimate Fan Challenge number 4. Let's keep going down. The Team Fan Leaderboard. Here it is. Team Fan Score Leaderboard details. The Team Fan Score Leaderboard is a seasons-long competition. This has been going on all season long. Now we're at the end. Now people are trying to jostle for ranks to be snapshot at the end. And there's fewer of these legits available because people burnt a bunch of them in the postseason. So that means if you have a team that you've collected a lot of legits for or mementos for, and that team happened to be in the postseason this year, wink, wink, hint, hint, go look back at what you've got. You may have seen that people burnt a lot of their collections to try to win that replica. So if they burnt a lot of their collections, that those ranks, that leaderboard may have shifted some. So keep that in mind. Again, it's important to mention that the players' NFLPA team fan scores earned from previous NFLPA seasons will contribute to their overall score for the leaderboard. So if you have NFLPA legits from previous seasons, you will be having that head start. So you kind of think about that. You do have a little bit of bonus here along the way. The Friday, February 23rd is the end, 2024. So jockeying away to the end there, and 9 a.m. PT is a cutoff on that. We can see some scores here on the overall team fan scores for each team. Top 1, 2, 3, 4 are going to be getting. We can see are going to be getting 4 brackets. Sorry, top 4 brackets are going to be getting some reward, some level of reward. That's the top 10 on each. First, obviously, 100,000 for each team, 100,000 UPX to the top on each team, a 0.25 Spark, and an MVP Block Explorer. Second place, 50,000 UPX, 0.2 Spark, and that same Block Explorer. And third place is 30,000 UPX, 0.1 Spark, and another one of those MVP Block Explorers. Fourth place through 10th place on each of the leaderboards, again, for each team in the NFLPA. We will end up with a 15,000 UPX reward. So, what do you want to jockey between now and the end of the month? That's up to you. But the trading, the swapping, the moving things around is key. You know, if people have a lot of one team or another and they want to increase scores, do the math again. No, there's a lot of math there for you. I'm not sure, Recon, what math you want me to do, but I can definitely roll back and take a look here in a second. But we are looking at on this side of things when we look at the values, where that value is on the NFLPA legits. Again, it's going to be concentrated for a short period of time. We may not see that value sustain afterwards. We do see a concentration of value over a very short period of time here. As people did burn some out, some legits out of that market. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see what people do to jockey. You can, of course, go and check and see where you are on that leaderboard, that active leaderboard, if you're looking to do so. Where's that active leaderboard? But if you go and take a look at the active leaderboard right there, you'll be able to get a better idea. There you go. Your active leaderboard sort about by team to see where you line and if it's worth trying to move things around to jockey yourself up listings anyway, one way or the other. So that's pretty simple that we have that. And of course, we do have the one last note here. One last note for the Frost Season Pass update. The week 2 pass drop today. You have to have burnt your pass in advance. We'll take a look. Why not? Let's take a look at that Seasons Pass reveal. Get that open. Let's get that up. The drops here, we're gonna see. Ooh, I'm gonna step that down because it's blowing my ears right out right now. We're gonna see that we do have 4 drops. Drops here are obviously the overlays on our Block Explorer. These 4 overlays, as we see, are hearts. Another heart iteration. We got some snow, which a lot of people had asked for. They said it's frost season. Why don't I have snow? And then we have 2 bubbles here. Stay frosty. Little speech bubble, and of course the season's badge, which theoretically you've already received in week 1 if you had burnt in advance of week 1 for the Frost season. I do want to put some notes out here. Sorry. I do want to put some notes out there. The notes are: you can still burn if you choose to burn. You're not going to be able to go back and get your rewards from week 1 and 2 if you have a Frost Pass. I also want to put something else there. This is a cosmetic enhancement. It's premium. You're paying a cost just for the cosmetics. These cosmetics look like they're going to stick around, like they're going to sit in your account anyways. But the caveat is you can never exchange them. You can never sell them. You can never monetize them in any major way unless you're going to go and stream and put content up on YouTube, and you having snow coming down around your Block Explorer somehow appeals to people. It's not monetizable. So it's worth noting that it is for you and your enjoyment. And if you don't enjoy it, don't spend the $6 to do it. It's the $7.699 to do it. We're gonna have following seasons. We'll have other passes, and I think this is a little bit indicative of what we should expect. If Upland wants to do something significantly different in a future season, they should tell us. But expect to see that you're going to have these little animations that are going to essentially be filters that are going to sit over top of your Block Explorer as it goes around the metaverse. If people have Block Explorers turned on, they'll see your Block Explorer. If you're looking at your own Block Explorer as you're treasure hunting or you're moving around the map, you will see that graphic. And from what I can tell, again, this is on my own usage and what I've heard, it looks like that graphic is not like it's significantly slowing down people's use of the game of Upland. If you like the graphic and you're using the game of Upland and you're treasure hunting, don't expect that graphic, or my experience anyways, is that it has not significantly hampered any of my activities or movements in the game of Upland. Internet speed and people's graphic resolution on their device do matter. So yes, maybe it's a little bit of enough to make some change, but look into it yourself. It is something you can toggle on and off. If you're going to treasure hunt and you're going to turn your snowflakes off, your snowflake animation, you can do that. So it's there. The options are there. And of course, if you want to burn to get that snowflake, you can't. You only got the snowflake. The snowflakes falling. You only got those little speech bubbles. You only got the hearts if you had already burnt prior to today, prior to the drop today. A couple notes on this moving forward as well is this is something that is a USD only sale. I think Upland is going to keep this as USD only, selling the passes. Long term, I think that is a little way of Upland generating revenue without having to pump out new assets. Pumping out assets all the time kind of expands the market as far as what's available in assets. It also dilutes the market to some degree based on what other assets are already in the market. So it is a way of Upland generating revenue without continuing to add to what's available. And I want to bring new players in. I want people to come into Upland with a different expectation of what they can do. If people want to have those little touches that they can pay a little more for, and they can say, I have it and you don't. Again, I don't want to make two classes of players in the game of Upland, but if people want to come in and they want to have that little extra touch, that little extra feature, they can pay for it. And that's essentially what Upland has done here. And the other interesting thing, even though this is a USD only sale, which I fully get that you can buy that pass in USD only, there's a secondary market that has come up on these. Obviously, we're pretty late in the season, or a couple weeks into the season anyways. I'm not advocating people who want to buy this in UpX go and look on the market and try to buy it in UpX just to burn it for the future weeks that are left. But I am going to put out there that this may be a market that may continue to develop and continue to exist. If you buy it in USD, you may be able to sell it in UpX, but you have no use of having 5 of the passes other than to either A, sell it to somebody who wants to buy it in UpX, or B, to hold on to it as a collectible. If you burn 1 pass, you get the benefit. If you burn 17 passes, you get the same benefit as if you had burnt 1. Very important to note, because I know people who burnt more than 1, hoping and expecting to get something a little different. And no, you don't get anything different. You get the same stuff. There's no random hit variable in there at this time. That could change, but there's no random hit variable. So 1 pass, 1 set of drops every week, and that's what we'll continue to see. So for that, I'm looking forward to a couple things in this week and next week that I know should be coming. I say this with optimism and with hope. I say this without any type of foreknowledge. Back in December, when we were doing the Q1 2024 stuff, or very beginning of Q1 2024 in January, the question's been asked. It's been asked a couple different places. When are we going to get information about Genesis Week? Get a little bit of push, nudge. And what had come out from the team is they expected the end of January, the beginning part of, beginning middle of February. Guess where we are? We're in the middle of February. Happy Valentine's Day, which is just about the middle, or is the general middle of February every year, except for now, because we have 29 days. So we are in the middle of the month. So the expectation, the hope, or fingers crossed, is that should be an announcement that comes out shortly. Let's hope that's the case. The other couple things that are big announcements that should be coming out is transportation, being able to drive between cities with our cars, as something that drops this quarter. I think that given the capstone and the hope that Upland has for transportation as vehicles, they want to get it during a period of time where it's away from other things happening in the game of Upland. I would hope they would do it soon because there's going to be a little bit of work and effort and jockeying at the last couple weeks of the season. That's going to be, or I should say, the last couple weeks of the quarter. That's going to be after the end of frost season. The last couple weeks of March, up when it's going to go and institute this new um, race series that they're going to do in between each of the seasons. So whatever that first set is, however many days are involved in that, that is going to be a focus for in the end of March. So I would hope that we'd get the cars of transportation before then. Who knows? Maybe they tandem that up, they partner that up. They say cars of transportation is a car announcement. Let's build that up. Let's put that together with this racing announcement. I don't know. Fingers crossed. We get one sooner than the other. So I can have my car drive between cities more quickly. The notation on the cars driving between cities is it was already announced and noted, and hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod. It's been told that it was eventually going to happen. It was wink, wink, nod, nod that it was going to be sooner rather than later. Transportation between cities for the purpose of minting, that we will have a city at some point in the future that may not be that far away that requires us to use our vehicle to travel there if we want to mint in that city. With that noted, with that taken into consideration, keep that in mind when you go to look at and potentially purchase cars. Something worth thinking about. And then additionally, on the side of cars or the racing, let's go and take a little bit of a stab back to the racing. I do want to look at MV Motors again. I think that's the account that happened to be under. Let's take a look and make sure. That address, that racetrack, that is being constructed, or was just constructed, I should say. Directories, factories. Let's go to MV Motors, and we'll go back to their address here, and then I go to MV Motors here. Assets. Let's see if they have that property under the same. There it is. What's that Lucille property? Look at that. So there's that Lucille property. It's made. We have a track. Look at this MV Motors track here. The Qatar track is there on the map. There's on the board. And if I take a look and I go back there, let's go back to that Lucille. We'll get some other Lucille tracks here. But if we go back to that Lucille track, we are going to see a couple interesting things about that track. First and foremost, on that track, we do see a couple things. Number one, let me get back to the track here. But looking back at that track, we do see a couple interesting things. One of the interesting things we see on the track is it's built, it's ready to go. We know that may be the first track or the next track to come up in the game. It is in Lucille, Qatar. They do have a race series that is in the area. So, having a race in an area with race series historically, pretty cool to have that tie-in. Does not mean that they're going to get any sponsorship. It does not mean that they're going to try to do anything with a partnership deal. It just means that it's cool to have race track in areas that have racetracks. The other thing that's kind of cool about it, if I can get back to the map that I wanted to see with for MV Motors, right? MV Motors, back to here. If I go back to look at MV Motors and look back at that racetrack, I did have it pulled up here. Let's get back to it. 169th Street. There it is. Boof. What's interesting here is we look at these assets right here on the board, and maybe it's worth getting to the address. 169th Street in Lucille, Qatar. 169th Street, Lucille. Let's work for me here. It's not going to play games. It's not going to play ball for me that way. But if we do go back and we look at that property for MV Motors racetrack for Lucille, we did see a couple interesting things. What we saw interesting is there's a bunch of assets on that map, and without being able to jump in and take a closer look, I can tell you that they are from a number of different manufacturers that are UGC. I mentioned this already earlier last week, that there are new initiatives on the Upland side where Upland accounts are literally buying assets from UGC providers. They're using their UpX pool that's already pooled into their businesses, their Upland businesses like the MV Motors. So go ahead, do what you want there. But that is UpX is going back into the community from Upland to acquire assets that they're using to enhance things that they're doing on the Upland side. I think it's a interesting way for the economy to cycle. It means the economy is working. They have lots of surrounding properties and plots. Okay, yep, perfect. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I did see there was a bunch on that list, Lily. For MV Motors, like I said, if we go back to, you know what? Let's go back to the account. Let's go back the other way. Player search MV Motors. But yeah, so there's a lot that they have there for assets, Lily. So definitely is interesting to see that is something they are starting to put. MV Motors. They're MV. Well, they're making it difficult on me today, Lily. I think it's underscore Motors. Is that it? Did we get there? Maybe. There we go. MV Motors. So there we go on MV Motors. Go back to assets. Go back to properties, and I can go back to their other Lucille properties here, and they've got assets on their other properties as well. I don't know. They have this just the one on the 169th Street. Yeah, interesting thing, like I said, on that is we are seeing that if I get in here and zoom in a little bit, scroll up, get to where I need to be, that there's a bunch of assets that are getting put on there, but from other vendors, other people in Upland, other people who are manufacturing. So looking forward to that being more of a goal here, where there is that more of that cyclical nature of the assets. So I'm excited to see that continue to develop. And then one other thing that I do want to look forward to is Sparklet's on the horizon. Keep in mind there was no guarantee, no promise that it's going to happen this quarter. But what was promised is as we get closer to Sparklet, we're going to have that Spark AMA or that Spark meeting or that Spark presentation. Good to see you, Wolf Warner. A lot going on, a lot of hopes here in the future. That's what we're looking at right now, Wolf. But the keynote is what's going to happen when that actually happens is a couple things. We had a submission or a request for submission via Reddit back in the end of December about what people wanted to see the priority for the year 2024 for Spark development, what people wanted to see for getting done when people wanted to see a continued development of new options and new things, utilities with Spark. And that was supposed to be an announcement that comes out before Sparklet drops. Theoretically, it was kind of hinted that it may be happening this quarter, may or may not, but I would love to see that announcement sooner rather than later. I don't care if it's a month before Sparklet actually drops, that we can have that discussion about what we should expect for Spark this year. It is meant to be a little bit of a price setting moment, an opportunity for people to say, yes, I see why I have Spark and I want to continue to have it and acquire it through Sparklet, or a reason to say I don't want to sell my Spark through Sparklet. It's a kind of a moment to prove that value before people decide what they're going to do with their Spark. But if it's sooner rather than later, then at least I can have a better planning long term. Maybe it's an opportunity for me to pick up some more Spark. I don't know, but looking forward to it, and hopefully that is coming sooner rather than later. But for tonight, I've got nothing else. I do want to look forward to the sale tomorrow, 9 a.m. PT is when that sale takes place. Registration runs until 8 a.m. PT tomorrow for that cart sale. 240 of those carts available. 10 trucks on the burn side for the Monster Mayhem, 20 on the burn side or on the back side of the little monsters. And I keep saying burn side because that's the way the sale was originally set. It's no longer a burn side. It's on a reward side. It's a reward based on a snapshot. So these carts aren't going away. We will continue to see 240 of these carts sit in the market long-term, none to be burnt. But different variations, different rarity, and of course, that burn is going to be a one-time thing next Tuesday between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. snapshot. And again, one more time, not a burn. I keep saying a burn because that's the way it was originally set, but it is a snapshot and reward next Tuesday between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Other than that, thank you so much, everybody. Looking forward to a couple things going over next week. Looking forward to more announcements tomorrow in the game of Upland. And of course, as always, if you are in Upland Discord, in the cafe Discord, feel free to unmute your mics. The floor is yours.